Okay, we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I had some technical difficulties this morning with the computer and whatever, but I think it's all fixed. And I was picking up the baby from school, but have to come in and check in with this press conference for Riley Strain, the Tennessee missing person. Hopefully we get some updates. It's been going for a while now. It's been like, I don't know, 20 minutes, 40 minutes. So we're going to start from the beginning. Appreciate you guys coming back. Oh, wait, is this muted? Shouldn't be. That's weird. Huh. Does it start out like that? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Our goal is still to bring Riley home. We feel that is still a very pliable goal. We feel like Dave and his team and the volunteers that he knows are very skilled and will help bring this for us. This time, I'm going to turn it over to Dave and let him kind of bring some information to light. If we have questions, have more information, okay? Thank you. Dave?
Thanks, sir. My name is David Flagg. For those who don't have a spelling, last name is F like Foxtrot, L-A-G-G. And I am the National Director of Operations for the United Cajun Navy. Those of you who may not know, people who are in the audience that may not know, we are a disaster response organization. We respond to natural disasters, all over the country. We're formed during Hurricane Katrina when New Orleans was flooded so badly. We had just a bunch of good old boys that had boats.
Good old boys.
Took it upon themselves to go out into the waters of New Orleans and start rescuing people, taking them supplies, et cetera, et cetera. Fast forward to today, our organization has been to almost every major natural disaster in this country, to include Hurricane Michael, Hurricane Ian, the Texas wildfires. We have people there now. The fires in Maui. So that's kind of an brief overview of what we do. We also obviously get involved in missing persons cases. We do search and rescue and focus on providing supplies of whatever nature the people might need them, food, clothing, etc. I was to touch on the reason that we're here today. We were contacted by Riley's
Fox
family
17.
and asked to step up and provide some more resources to this search activity. And we have been pretty much involved from the very first day that we heard about it, which I believe was on Monday, would have been the 10th, 11th, whatever day that was. We've had an airboat here on the river. We've had people involved behind the scenes and following this and understanding what's been happening here with regard to the search efforts of individuals. We felt that it was probably a real good idea for us to step in and organize a structured and organized search activity for this. We also have, today we have a hovercraft coming in and a pilot to run that craft. If he gets here early enough, we will be on the river today.
All right.
If not, we'll start early tomorrow morning and spend a good bit of time.
So this is a family press conference. Lauren in the chat was saying that Fox 17 has the beginning part because this one kind of started a little bit cut off. I have a link, but this thing's acting kind of funky. The other link. Let me try this. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep going, and if I catch the beginning again.
Assisting in that search. We had an airboat here, and that individual will be returning, I believe, Friday, possibly Saturday. I would reiterate what Riley's father said.
Oh, here it is.
Our main focus, obviously, is to find Riley. Our secondary focus is.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Lauren, for that. We did miss Riley's father, I think. Here we go. Yeah. So let's listen into that, and then we'll jump back to where we left off at. Appreciate that.
The extra resources today.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, everybody ready now?
What's up, TikTok? How you guys doing? Please follow me if you can.
Good afternoon.
Appreciate that.
Thank everyone for coming out today. With everything that's gone on in the past few days, we've been reached out to, and we've spoken with Dave with the United Cajun Navy.
United Cajun
We feel
Navy.
that we need the
Never heard of
extra
that before.
resources to come in and help us as we try to get more organized for our family
Wow.
and
Okay.
see if we can't bring some more clues to light. We're very grateful for everyone that's done everything so far. We ask that you continue. We ask that you work and help with us to become more organized, because we don't want individuals out there alone without us knowing, so that we want to make sure everybody's careful. Safety is the number one priority. We appreciate more than you'll ever know the outpouring that we've received from the community, from the press, and everyone else involved. Our goal is still to bring Riley home. We feel that is still a very pliable goal. We feel like Dave and his team and the volunteers that he knows are very skilled and will help bring this for us. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dave and let him kind of bring some information to light. If we have questions at the end, we'll be more than happy to address, but I do ask that we have a little bit of courtesy for what we're going through right now, and give us just, a few questions, and we'll again meet as we have more information, okay? Thank you. Dave?
Okay.
My name is David Flagg. For those who don't have the spelling, last name is F like Foxtrot, L-A-G-G. And I am the National Director of Operations for the United Cajun Navy.
All right, we can switch back. Looks a little, I guess, a little bit better here, but yeah, it's a 501c3 registered nonprofit that's focused on helping people make the world around us a better place. And I guess they have resources. They provide relief efforts through fundraisers, community building events, and in-depth training sessions for our volunteers. Okay. They have a website.
Ensure the safety of the people who are out here searching. If we have folks just out on their own on these very steep and treacherous terrain on the riverbank, and other treacherous aspects of this search, we don't know. We don't know what's going on with you. It's not safe. It's real dangerous. So I would encourage any volunteers who have been here and are searching to please come under the umbrella of the United Cajun Navy search. We will be putting together a structured and organized ground search at some point in the near future. I don't have the specific information on that yet, but I will make that information known once I have it. If you do intend to come out and search with us, or to continue to search on your own, there are some safety aspects that you need to know. Number one, you need to be wearing some sturdy shoes. You need to have some heavy gloves on, and some nitrile or rubber gloves as well. There's a lot of garbage and debris and needles and bodily fluids of one kind or another that are on these riverbanks that you really don't want to be exposed to. So that's what I would ask of you, just for your own safety. And I would also reiterate what Riley's father said. If you all do have questions for the family, please be very, very sensitive about the nature of this incident. As you can imagine, those of you who have children or don't have children, I guess the best advice I could give would be don't ask a question of the family that you would not want to be asked yourself. That's pretty much all I have to say. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Just one thing that I wonder for you and for the family, the police have been steadfast for at least several days in saying that they don't suspect any foul play. Have you seen the evidence to that? Do you believe it?
At this point, there is no evidence that I'm aware of that would indicate foul play. You know, y'all know how it goes on Facebook and social media. There's been a lot of chatter on there about the fact that Riley's debit card was found on the riverbank, and that is prima facie evidence of criminal activity, something of that nature there. I don't agree with that. You know, obviously I'm not the investigator. We have a couple of representatives from MMPD here, and I'm sure they have something to say about it. But I would very seriously, at this point, doubt that there's been any criminal activity.
First, Michelle, you guys are obviously asking for more people to come in and help at this point. Are you satisfied with the job Metro Police have done, and what are you hoping that this additional volunteer effort will do to help?
He's asking if they're satisfied, like with the police or investigators.
Yes, we feel like they've handled it well. We know that there's an excessive amount of information coming into them that they're having to dissect. You know, it's hard as a parent, as we are now 10, 11, 12 days into this, and we're trying to, you know, find Riley, come up with, you know, an outcome here. And so, yes, as the days drag on, we are frustrated. We know they're doing their job. We've seen what they've got, you know.
We know they're doing things that we haven't been informed about. That's probably with any investigation like this. There's details that they're not going to share with us that we're sure they're working on too. We don't know what all for sure exactly what they've done as far as searches goes. We don't know some of the information, but that's not to say they haven't done it.
Exactly. And, you know, Dave is kind of an extra resource for us, a point of contact with his foundation, his group, to be able to help us so that we can focus and make sure that we're doing everything as best as possible. It's been hard being from out of town, being from 6.5 hours away, to put a structured program together when you don't know everywhere that you're at, you don't know the lay of the land as well, you don't have your family and your resources that are in your hometown to be able to help guide you and lean on to build a organized search. And that has bothered us, and Dave is our answer.
Kind of rewinding a little bit, I know that y'all saw the car footage for the first time potentially. Is there anything significant there that you feel comfortable sharing at this time?
The only thing really that we have seen with our own eyes is in the bar footage would be Riley and his friend going down the stairs just before he exited the bar. His friend turns around and goes back up the stairs. You know, we're not focusing on a lot of the stuff that happened earlier. We're still pushing forward, and we're trying to figure out where he's at now.
I am not able to comment on that at this point. I know that they're still digging through information, so.
What else?
I am not able to comment on that at this point. I know that they're still digging through information, so hopefully they'll be able to provide information here, you know, as we move forward. We know that Riley was possibly texting and communicating with multiple people. Again, we don't know the exact people. We don't know the exact timeline, or who the last person was.
Anything right now would kind of be speculation on our part
Yeah.
to exactly what that was.
No need to muddy the water. So I'm sure the detectives, as information becomes available that is pertinent like that, they will provide to us, and we will share as we can.
And again, we have a couple representatives from the police department here, and that may be a question that you could ask them. Before they come up, there's just, anybody else have questions for the family before I interrupt?
I do. Michelle, the last time you and I spoke, you told me he was here with 50 of his fraternity brothers. Not one of them left the bar to go with him. I know you were close. That was some of his friends as well. What did those conversations been like since?
With the boys. I mean, they're heartbroken also. I mean, he's their best friend. And we love these boys like our own. And it's just as hard on them as it is on us.
And right now, we really are focusing on
bringing Riley home.
his last point.
He's my best friend. He's everything.
Is that it?
I have a quick question. Can you tell me how many people are a part of your group for active searching? And are there different times that you're searching?
So we are an all-volunteer organization. So people who work with us, volunteer with us, have jobs, have families. And so there's, at any given time, that number is going to fluctuate. Sometimes it might be 2 people and sometimes it might be 200 people. At this point, I am the only boots on the ground for the United Cajun Navy, and that is going to change here very shortly. We're going to get as many people who are associated with our organization involved in this search. The ground search is what I'm referring to. We have a couple representatives from MMPD who'd like to speak with you, but before they do, there's one thing I do want to say, and if I hurt somebody's feelings out there, oh well.
Oh,
I'm a retired Pennsylvania State Trooper. There has been a lot of chatter on social media about the police are or are not handling this investigation properly. They should have done this. They should have done that. If you're not a trained police officer, your speculation is just that, just speculation. I've been in constant contact with Detective Chandler, and I know that they have been making every effort that they can to bring this investigation, this search to a close.
what's interesting, as I was browsing too a little bit, I see Daily Mail posted this article. I haven't watched this video yet. We can watch it after, but the title of it is, and maybe it's for sensationalism. Maybe that didn't even happen in the interview, or maybe you guys that have watched it already could tell me. It says Riley Strain's parents slam Nashville cops for slow investigation as it's revealed homeless man was seen wearing his shirt, which I don't know if that's true or not, but witness wasn't interviewed by TikTok volunteers. Oh, and TikTok volunteers found his bank card, which I know that is confirmed, and we're going to talk more about that too in a bit.
So please, you folks out there on social media, think real hard about what you're going to post before you post it. And that goes as well for posts about the family and about this investigation. The family doesn't really need to see posts on social media that say, well, maybe there's a serial killer out there and that's where he chunked him in the water. That's not cool. Anybody got a question for me? Yes, ma'am. Give me the first part of that again. I missed it. Yes, ma'am. Well, like I said, we have 2 boats coming, and that's going to be obviously our water search. This terrain presents a very, very difficult challenge for a ground search. I'm sure y'all have seen on TV that, when there's a field or a wooded area that you have a line of people 2-3 feet apart, everybody just walking through. This is not going to be that. Also, the terrain is going to be very difficult to use any sort of tracking dog. Again, just because it's going to be very difficult to walk. So my goal, and part of the reason that I came down here early today, is so I could get my eyes on the terrain. I hadn't seen it yet, and formulate a plan for that. The plan right now is very loose and informal. We want all the volunteers to meet up with me before we go out, and probably about the only way that we're really going to effectively be able to do this is put people in 2s and 3s, potentially 4s. We are working on getting some supplies, ropes, etc., that are going to enable these people to safely traverse this terrain. If there's anybody out there who would like to contribute to that effort, please feel free to go on our website, thank you, which is UnitedCajunNavy.org. And there's a donate button. You can feel free to donate there. But that's my next step, is to get the supplies and the equipment that's needed to be able to conduct this search safely. And that's, as far as the plan goes, that's all we have right now. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, do you plan on staying towards the river in your future searches or other like downtown areas? And if you give me a list of supplies,
And it's pretty wild that, like, while Riley has been missing, I think there's been like 2 other bodies, unrelated, that were found. Isn't that crazy? I think it's 2. Last I checked. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, yes and yes to your questions. You know, at this point, we're going to focus on the riverbank area and the water, because that appears to be the last place where Riley was seen. We have the last video footage that we have of him, I believe, is from this camera. Is that right? From this camera on this building here, and video footage from surveillance cameras all around the area do not indicate that he ever came up this way or up the steps by the courthouse or anything of that nature there. The last video is of him going underneath this bridge right here, and that's pretty much it. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't do some canvassing of the homeless encampments and the downtown area where there may be other homeless people, simply to see if we can pull out any other information. Speaking of which, if there is anybody out there that has any information about this, please step forward and get in touch with me. You can reach out to me on our Facebook page, which is simply United Cajun Navy on Facebook. If you are scared or concerned about the nature of your information, come and get hold of me anyway. All right. Our main goal here is to bring Riley home.
is there like an email that potential volunteers for this help, or should they just message you on Facebook? Or
Yes, you can message us on Facebook, and our email address is info@UnitedCajunNavy.org, and that's United Cajun is CAJUNNAVY, UnitedCajunNavy.org. Anybody else? Gentlemen?
I'm Detective Anthony Chandler. This is Sergeant Bob Nilsson. We're with the Homicide Cold Case Unit for Metro Nashville Police, and we've been heading up the investigation into Riley's disappearance. As Mr. Flagg said, we've been in contact with him since the very beginning, coordinating what we could as far as with the family's active participation in locating Riley. That has been, and to this day remains, the top priority. There has not been any evidence that has come forward to change this to an ongoing criminal investigation at this time. Regardless of what else has been put out there, there are several leads that we are following up with on a constant basis, and an influx of information that is coming forward at all times. We are going through every single piece of that information, but the priority remains locating Riley.
As he said, I'm Sergeant Nielsen. I gave a briefing to our chain of command all the way up to Chief Drake yesterday. They're well aware of where we are with the investigation at this point, as well as the resources. We do have our boat going back in the water this afternoon, along with members of the Urban Search and Rescue team that will be combing the area, researching the area. It's been mentioned already today, and it's also been asked, things like why was that card found and why didn't we find it? As Mr. Flagg pointed out, there's a lot of variables in these investigations, and if you've not been skilled or trained or experienced in these investigations, you don't understand a lot of these things. As Don Aaron put out the other day, when we start a missing person investigation, we're looking for a person. We're looking for a body. We're not looking for small pieces of evidence. Can we miss some things? Sure. But our primary goal is to find Mr. Strain and bring him home safely. Think of it like a large crime scene. A lot of times you have to deal with the victims first before you can go back and start looking for those precise pieces of evidence. Okay, that's kind of our focus here. We're looking for Mr. Strain, then we go back and look again. And because these two ladies over here were kind enough to volunteer their time and helped us by finding that, now we can do a more refined search with our urban search and rescue, which is what they're going to be doing this afternoon. And as Mr. Flagg said, with a lot of the volunteers, if you're coming down to volunteer, understand it is very treacherous terrain. That's why we're using urban search and rescue and not just anyone on the street, because our people are trained, they're equipped, they have everything that they need to conduct these searches. You won't even see a patrol officer go to some of these areas that are more treacherous. Why? Because they don't have the rappelling equipment and things of that nature. So we're utilizing all the resources we can. We've also going to be reaching out to Office of Emergency Management. They've been helping us quite a bit. Over the weekend, they've been back out with a boat, divers, cadaver dogs. They run sonar. Our boat has sonar. It's the same stuff. People have asked about TBI. It's the same resources they have. So there's not been a need for us to get additional assistance from these other agencies. However, like Mr. Flagg, Cajun Navy, they have that experience. They want to volunteer their time. They've been very gracious in talking with us, saying they're going to help us out. Not a problem at all. But again, if you have a structured organization like United Cajun Navy, you have the safety protocols in place, you have the equipment and the resources to utilize to conduct that search, as well as to make certain everybody's safe doing that. We're going to continue to search. We're still filtering all the Crime Stoppers tips, as Detective Chandler said. I cannot stress enough the volume of information we've gotten. We've had people get frustrated with us because they'll call us, say, on a Monday, and they don't know why we haven't gotten back to them on Monday. And I've had to explain to them, we have to weigh every piece of evidence we get, or information rather, evenly. We can't just jump to the top, because quite honestly, there's a lot of tips that we're getting that are not tips. They mean well, but they're not tips. So we have to prioritize what's actually providing information. And some of the other things I have my detectives doing today is recanvassing the area for video. And while we don't think Riley may have been in any of these homeless camps away from this area, those are areas that we're going to be working on this afternoon ourselves. In regards to, we've had questions about some of the behind the scenes things we're doing, search warrants, that kind of thing. Please understand it's an open investigation. We cannot share that information with the public because it's an open investigation. It can, if it were to turn into a criminal investigation, well, obviously now we're negatively impacting that situation. So please understand, if you call us and you're asking us questions, there may be some things we cannot answer, and it's to maintain the integrity of the investigation, as well as any potential evidence should there be a criminal component to it. I would also ask, as Mr. Flagg and everybody has, if you have questions for the family, you want to help the family, that's great. But please also respect their privacy. These kinds of incidents that happen, sometimes people with the best of intentions don't know the best way to approach people, and it can cause more stress for the family. So please be mindful of that. What am I missing? I don't think.
One of the other things I wanted to make sure everybody understood, all the businesses and everybody we have asked for assistance as far as video or any other information, we have had absolute cooperation from everybody involved. There has never been a time to where anyone has had any issue in giving us any other information. To go along with what Mr. Flagg said, I know earlier I said this is not a criminal investigation this time. Should we uncover something that would change that, it's important that we go through one centralized source to where we know we can then change the manner in which we're searching and can start to conduct that in the proper manner. So if you do want to volunteer, we welcome all eyes to come help try to find Riley. But if we stumble across something to where we need to change the direction of the investigation, it is important that it's through one coordinated source and they're able to get the information back to us so we can adjust accordingly.
I think the only thing I would like to add before we open up to questions is one of the concerns people have called in multiple times about is that he was, Riley was being chased, he was being followed. We have seen no evidence of that. We've been through the video multiple times.
I'm glad that they're clearing up all this stuff, because the internet, a lot of people have been wondering. And, of course, people, having theories about what happened, what could have happened, people dissecting the video. It's being chased, it's being followed. Got into this car, got into that car, blah, blah, blah. They're saying so far they haven't seen. Well, I'll just play it again.
Concerns people have called in multiple times about is that he was, Riley was being chased, he was being followed. We have seen no evidence of that. We've been through the video multiple times.
And some people were saying that there's like evidence at Luke's bar and that something inside of there happened and that's why they're not putting it out, or, all kinds of stuff.
And that is the reason why we released that body camera footage, because that officer had an interaction with him. And we've talked to other people that have indicated to us there was no injuries on Mr. Strain when they observed him, and there was no indication that he was running from anything or he was in fear. There's been a lot of misconceptions, a lot of misinformation out there, and we're putting out everything we can to dispel all of those misconceptions. We're happy to answer those questions, but again, people are taking what has already been put out, what the media's put out, and then putting their spin on it, calling back with Crime Stoppers tips that are not actually tips. They're their theory on what happened. We love people calling in and helping us, but we need actionable leads that we can follow up on.
And I just wanted to interject too, because I spoke with Riley Lavey a little bit just in the DMs, and she was telling me about, I think these are the two TikTokers that actually found the card. So there's somebody named Nobody Left Behind 13. I'm not sure. That wouldn't be Anna. It would be the other person would be named Anna. There's Anna and Brandy. So I believe this is Brandy, Nobody Left Behind. And then Anna, she's a recording artist, but I guess she was just like involved helping out. I don't know too much in depth, but when they found this card, I guess from what I heard, people were like shitting on them, saying that they planned it and all this stuff. And as you know, cops confirmed this card was actually found. What I was told is people have been bashing them and all they wanted to do was help. Anna doesn't even want her name out there anymore. As people have said, Anna also doesn't even want her name anywhere anymore, as to have people say she makes music for clout or did this to promote her stuff. It's just constant judgment, accusations of clout chasing, and Anna wants to post her music like she has scheduled months, but now she can't. So I don't know. Just leave these people alone. If you're one of the weird people harassing them or whatever, they actually helped out by finding Riley's card. If there's anybody out there, and so the other person doesn't even have. I think Anna. I don't think she has anything related to this story actually on her TikTok, from what I see, unless she took it down. The other person does, and she has some videos. We'll probably take a look at this in a bit. There's just somebody on TikTok and help find the card, which could maybe could help the cops focus their search. But I know how the internet is. I've been a part of this internet shit where people, How do I mute this?
Today they didn't go out due to weather. Today the weather's easier, calmer, so they are searching. They do have boats right now combing the Cumberland River for Riley. It is more just protocol, they said. Yesterday they didn't go out due to weather.
That was 3 days ago. I don't think they've even really been posting anymore.
Are actually being questioned by the police, because apparently these two girls...
What did he ask me then? If you know so much, tell me. But instead, let's take the time to look at Riley and his mom and how happy they are here, and that we all need to keep doing anything.
Are actually being questioned by the police, because apparently these two girls...
What did he ask me then? If you know so much...
So, it's really unfortunate that they're dealing with whatever, whatever the online crazies, Move on. All right.
So please understand too, when you don't see us like my detectives out in the field constantly, it's because we're trying to prioritize those tips that we're getting to find what's actually useful information that we can follow up on, because sometimes we get tips that we can't follow up on. It's just a statement somebody's making. So with that, you got a question, ma'am?
Yes, sir. So the credit card being discovered separated from wherever Riley is and potentially separated from his wallet. Some would say that could potentially go either way. Sure, maybe he just fell out and he didn't even realize, or maybe it was forcefully removed. So how do you decide which it is and which side to lean on, whether missing person versus criminal? Because a lot of folks would say, well, that could certainly indicate, or lay people would say, that could certainly indicate criminal activity.
Once we recovered the card, it was secured and processed properly to where it can be examined as far as going into a criminal matter at a later time if it's so needed.
How does the United Cajun Navy fit into NPD's command structure?
We
Oh, that's
pretty
Riley in
much
the chat.
allow
Riley!
our people with the emergency contingency section and USAR to coordinate with them, because, you know, we do cold case investigations. We don't handle that part. So our job is typically to get them in touch with them and let them coordinate between the two, because they have the knowledge and expertise, and they know how to communicate with one another and schedule with each other what they're going to do, how they're going to do it.
Oh, here's an
It's
interview
kind
with them
of,
actually too.
A moot
I just
point for
came
us to
across
step in the
that.
middle of that, other than to act as a liaison to get them in contact with one another.
You said get them in touch with them.
With one part of our department that handles like the urban search and rescue and the boat searches and everything, we get that unit in contact with Mr. Flag.
So they're coordinating their actions.
That's what we plan, because our resources are coming back out this afternoon, and that's kind of our goal is with Mr. Flag here today, is get him in touch with the supervisors over in that unit so they can make that coordination.
And then at what point would your office decide to no longer continue the investigation?
Until we have no other actionable leads. But because we work cold case, we continue working it until we just have nothing. And as new information comes in, we continue to pick it right back up and go right back to it. This is not going away. This is not going away anytime soon. And I have detectives that work cold case homicides that are decades old, and we continue to work on those. In fact, one of my detectives has been able to close 2 of them last year. So I say that to say this isn't going away. We keep going until we have absolutely nothing, no new tips, no traces of anything to follow up on. But until that happens, we're still going to be out here doing everything.
How would you describe the actionable leads in front of them
In what regard?
You said we're going to keep going until we have no action.
Meaning if somebody calls in with a theory, okay, that's one thing. But unless they're giving us information like a name, a location where they saw a suspicious person, thought they saw a piece of an item that belonged to Riley, that doesn't help us. So we have to filter through to look for the things they're saying. Hey, around this time I saw John Doe at this location. He might have been wearing a similar shirt, or maybe he was talking to Riley. That's actionable. That's something we can follow up on. We can look for video cameras in the area. But when they just say, I just saw a homeless guy in the area, that doesn't help us, because it's nothing we can follow up on. Does that help?
So enough of those actionable leads are still coming in right
Yes, sir.
now?
Yes. Yes, sir. And actually, that's why we were late coming up here, is because we've been following up on more of those.
When we last heard from you guys on Thursday, you were still waiting on cell phone and Apple Watch data. Have you received all of that at this point? And if you have, what have you been able to find from it?
At this point right now, what we have originally from Apple is what we're working off of, and all of the location data is what we've already released. So at this point in time, that's the same information we're going to be working off of.
I have a simple question. On the video that I saw, a lot of people were around, and they could have done something to help this young man. And maybe we should push the Nashville, but if you see that happen, don't be afraid to help somebody. I mean, literally, on that video, I saw a lot of people that saw how drunk that guy was. It could have been...
Sorry about that.
Especially once you see somebody fall.
You know, you're 100% correct. And unfortunately, that is the state of our society
I know, everybody's
today.
scared to help somebody.
And I agree with you 100%. You know, Nashville population, if you see something, say something or do something.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Because I watched that and I'm like, nobody did anything to say,
So this person, it's a little hard to hear him, but I believe he's talking about how nobody did anything, you know, to like really help. I believe. I'm gonna play it one more time.
I have a simple question. On the video that I saw, a lot of people were around, And they could have done something to help this young man. Stop him from trouble. And maybe we should push the Nashville, but if you see that happen, don't be afraid to help someone. I mean, literally, on that video, I saw a lot of people that saw how drunk that guy was. It could have been stopped. Somebody could have said, hey, man, you need some help. Okay?
I don't know if that's a reporter or that's just somebody that's attending and asking a question.
Especially once you see somebody fall.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is the state of our society
I know, everybody's
today.
scared to help somebody.
And I agree with you 100%. You know,
Yeah, it sucks. Isn't that there's something also called like the bystander effect? Is that what it is? Bystander. I don't know what it is. I looked into it a long time. Yeah, the bystander effect. You could kind of consider that maybe in this case, somewhat. You know, or like that fight we talked about earlier, where the girl got knocked into a coma, and she did just. I mean that one. I don't know if that's so applicable, but people just are afraid to intervene, man. Especially the way society is, you know, or how people get caught up in a situation trying to help somebody. I feel like there's been a couple of stories. You try to help somebody, they lock your ass up, or the person kills you. Somebody should have stopped and helped them, or tried to, or at least just call 911 from a distance. You know, you don't even have to approach him. Maybe you don't have to walk up to him, but just make a call. You know, bystander effect. Everybody's just watching. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna do anything. Somebody must have called. I mean, we're all just standing here. I don't know if that's you could make that applicable in a way or not. I mean, I saw a lot of people kind of watching. You know, I told my story too, my LSD tripping story about the worst, craziest time of my life. I don't know, worst maybe, craziest time of my life for sure. And nobody helped me. Well, there was one lady at the very, very end. I was when I see Riley like that, when he was going down the streets like that, it almost reminded me of myself in 2010. It was kind of scary. So, yeah.
No Nashville population. If you see something, say something or do something.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Because I watched that and I'm like, nobody did anything to say, hey, man, this guy shouldn't be walking around like this.
Right.
So,
any other questions?
God bless you guys.
Could you guys say your name and spell it one more time and your title?
I'm Detective Anthony Chandler, Chandler.
I'm Sergeant Robert Nielsen, Nielsen.
And you're with?
Metro National Police Department, Cold Case Unit. You had a question, sir?
Could you all just go over again what it is that's making you say that there's no sign of foul play of this not being a criminal investigation at this time? Is it a lack of evidence to the contrary, or do you have other information that suggests that?
Well, right now it's a lack of any evidence of a crime being committed. A lot of people have come up to us with various items claiming that it's indicative of it. And please understand, as a supervisor, I've been working homicides for 10 years. He's been working them for a long time as a detective. And we're skilled in criminal investigations. What, evidence can be, different possibilities, whether physical evidence, whether it's digital evidence or whatever. And if we don't have anything, like we don't at this point, that indicates that there's any indication of foul play, then if we go down that rabbit hole, then we're wasting resources and time from possibly looking for him, because now we're looking for evidence of a crime. And while we're open to the possibility it could be a crime, I mean, obviously there's always that possibility, right?
Christy, thank you for the 10. Appreciate that. Says, thanks for covering this, Mel. Surprised they're calling it cold, but okay. Chicky in the chat says, I'm very hesitant to help. Too many variables to not count for. A person could have a DNR order. You give them CPR, lawsuits. I mean, there's I haven't covered that story yet. It's kind of an old story, but there was the guy in New York that intervened to help or something like that. What's his name? Jordan or something? A lot of time online when I see people say, well, why don't you help? Or why don't people help? And they'll be like, well, look at that guy in New York. Look what happened to him. He tried to help. He ended up killing the person, though. And, he's got locked. I think he got arrested or he's a trial coming up or something. My instructor, too, my concealed instructor was telling me, too, he was telling me, like, if he was to see something happening out in public, he would not intervene with his gun unless his family was in danger. He'd call the cops, he said. And the reason he said that, because he was, I mean, I guess it depends on the situation, but he was like, how do you know you're shooting the perp? How do you know you're not shooting somebody defending themselves? Unless it's like a mass shooting spree or something, you know? How do you know that the person that shot the person is not just defending themselves, and now you're shooting the person that was defending themselves? If you just go out and start shooting.
But we haven't seen anything. And just because his bank card was found there, just because somebody heard something, until we have more to shore that up, we can't say that a crime occurred. So as soon as we have anything, if it exists, that indicates a crime occurred, assault or whatever the case may be, we immediately follow up on that. But we have to have evidence or probable cause, and a lot of people don't understand what probable cause is, but we have to have probable cause a crime even occurred. So that's why it's easy to jump to those conclusions, but that's where we have to tell people, this is why we don't do things at an accelerated rate. We have to do things methodically, like Mr. Flagg and his team, they do methodical searches, right? Our urban search and rescue, they do methodical searches, because if we just jump to conclusions...
Well, that too, yeah. How do you know you're not going to be put in prison? That guy gave me a lot of perspective. The concealed guy I was talking to, he gave me a lot of, like, just how heavy the burden is, the responsibility is of having a gun. We're going to watch the interaction, too, with the cop and Riley. And he seemed... It was a very brief interaction, but seemed pretty... I don't know if you could say lucid or not. It was just a very, like, hi or something, how you doing? I don't know. You know, I don't know, because I've seen people intoxicated, you know, in some places. My first thought is to call 911. But it makes me think differently seeing Riley's situation. I mean, I don't know if I would have saw somebody fall flat on their face like that. I don't know. It's crazy to see that that can happen to somebody like that, and to like disappear in a crowded place. A lot of people, you know. I guess he could have wandered off on his own.
Every single time, we could actually miss more evidence, whether there was a crime or not, but still evidence of where he had been or what happened to him, if we're just running all over the place going, oh, what crime happened, but now we're not looking over here anymore. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Has there been any other evidence connected to Mr. Strain's since Sunday?
Not that I'm aware.
In which regard?
As far as physical evidence, is that the only?
No, outside the debit card, that's the only physical evidence we have right now.
Oh, and somebody did find a phone, but I just want to put out there, it is not a phone that he had. He had an Apple phone. This was a Google Android phone. So
okay. I thought he had an Apple all this time.
I know that's been a question that's come up as well. I just want to go ahead and clarify.
But he does have an Apple Watch, though? Can you have an Apple Watch with an Android?
That.
Sorry, you said someone found a phone.
Yes, ma'am. They found it in the vicinity. They brought it to us immediately while we were out there Sunday.
Oh, is it?
We did collect it just because we don't know who it belongs
So wait, they're just saying a different phone, maybe.
to him. If we're just running all over the place going, oh, what crime happened, but now we're not looking over here anymore. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Has there been any other evidence connected to Mr. Strain's since Sunday?
Not that I'm aware.
In which regard?
As far as physical evidence, is that the only?
No, outside the debit card,
sir.
that's the only physical evidence we have right now.
Oh, and somebody did find a phone, but I just want to put out there, it is not a phone that he had. He had an Apple phone. This was a
okay, I misheard it. Really important to listen. Okay.
Google Android phone. So I know that's been a question that's come up as well. I just
So they found an Android phone. Gotcha.
want to go ahead and clarify that.
Sorry, you said
But it's not his phone. He has an
Yes,
Apple.
ma'am. They found it in the vicinity. They brought it to us immediately while we were out there Sunday. We did collect it just because we don't know who it belongs to. Don't know if it is in relation to this case. But right now, it's not his phone. We know that because we know he had an Apple phone, Apple Watch. This was an Android device.
Who were the last transactions on that vehicle?
They were all on Broadway.
Given that there are so many search areas now, search crews, that are now participating in this effort, are you positive? How positive are you that Riley is still in this vicinity?
Well, we're not, but we're searching everywhere. Last Friday, we got a call that they thought they saw him up towards the Titans practice field somewhere, and we went out there and looked. So we're not just limited to here, but when we have somebody go missing, you have to start with the last place they were seen. You can't be that you know for a fact that they were seen. You can't just go, well, I thought I saw him over here, because a lot of people think that the video cameras everywhere catches everything, and they don't. We have people claiming there's video across the river, but some of them don't reach this riverbank. So if we start searching over there, but we don't know he was over there, but we know he was on this side of the river, this is going to do us more good, because that's going to allow the people that are trained in doing searches to have a starting point and have more tangible things to look at, as opposed to just going around and speculating which areas he could be. Obviously, if we have something that leads us further down, we will. But right now, that's why the areas that they're focusing on is this immediate area, because we know for a fact that was his last known point of contact with anyone.
We know Riley was asked to leave the bar around 9:35. We've seen subsequent videos, but can you give us a timeline of where he was at on Broadway or other places in the city prior to the Brian's bar?
Prior to that is he was here with his friends enjoying a night on Broadway. Our focus begins when he leaves from that location, and then he starts going up 3rd Avenue to Church Street and proceeds over the Gay Street corridor right below us, because that's where he went missing.
But there was a big question of whether or not he was overserved on Broadway. When Brian's bar came out and said he had one drink. Were there other bars that he was at that you guys are looking into, and whether or not he was overserved?
We're pulling video surveillance from every location that we're aware that he was at. As far as this time right now, like I said, our focus is on locating Riley. Anything subsequent from that will be followed up once we've concluded that part.
And unfortunately, we're going to have to kind of end it there for us. We have some follow-ups we have to do right now, but our PIO office will definitely be putting out more information as we get it. The family, we've been in contact with them and updating them as soon as we can. So appreciate your time. And if you have any other questions in the meantime for our department, please focus them to our PIO for today. Thank you. Thank you. No problem. Thank you, Mr. Flag. Yes, sir.
Brian Gilbert, I'm Riley's father.
Okay. So
It was our command. How it's a cooperative relationship. We're not under their command. They're not under our command. However, we do defer to them first. We don't take any significant actions without checking with Detective Chandler first. We've got 2 young ladies here who have been doing some extensive searching. These are the young ladies that found Riley's debit card. We're not going to use names. We're going to just let them be anonymous. But they have some suggestions and some information for other potential searchers.
it's good.
I guess hi.
Oh wow, they spoke.
I guess the most important thing that we want to make sure everybody knows when you are joining us to search is I have layers under these jeans. I have boots. We have masks, because when you are moving stuff, there is stuff flying everywhere. You have to have gloves with grips. There will be rocks falling, so you have to be very careful. If you want to wear a helmet, that's something we really might suggest. We haven't done it. It's very difficult to go down this embankment, but it's extremely possible, especially if you're able. You're just going to have to be very careful with your footing. And we really, really recommend gripped gloves, because we have been using that to grab onto branches to either bring ourselves back up or to move around. Once you get down there, you are going to be walking across the river on rocks, and they are wobbly. And as we said, there's other rocks that will be falling down. Be very, very careful, and do not go alone. I did not go until she came with me, because we knew that it would be very dangerous if something happened. Nobody would be able to find me then. It's very, very hard to actually hear each other down there too. Even if we're just like 15, 20 feet away, I can yell to her, and it's hard to hear.
Why is that? Because of the water, the current and stuff?
I guess if you guys have any questions, I can answer it, but that's about all I have to say at the moment. Perfect.
Thank you, ladies.
Yes.
That's, I think, pretty much all we have, unless there are other questions. Okay, once again, yes, sir.
You know, for volunteer purposes, how much of the area has been grid searched? Was it grid searched by law enforcement from the standpoint of where the ID was found? So maybe everybody's not duplicating.
That's a really good question. He's asking about, like, you know, what has been like a grid search, what's been searched, so people aren't overlapping and that kind of stuff. I really liked with Cavalcante how somebody had set up like a grid area. I know they were searching for this guy, but it was marked off on the map with times and everything.
Going down the same embankment. Do you know if that's been done?
I don't know if MMPD has done a grid search. To my knowledge, none of the volunteers have done that. And it's, again, going to be very, very challenging to do any kind of a grid search in that terrain. We are going to try to do something that approaches a grid search, but all I can tell you is going to be is the best we can do. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
What is the best way to sign up to search with you guys?
I would go to www.unitedcajunnavy.org or send an email to info@unitedcajunnavy.org. That comes, both of those come to me. All right. Anything else? All right. Once again, I just want to thank everybody, the whole community, the online community, all the volunteer searchers that have been involved in this. You know, you folks are going to be the ones potentially that break this case open. So keep on doing what you're doing. Keep your eyes open. Keep your ears open. If you see something, say something. And again, once we figure out when we're going to do this organized search, we will let the media outlets know, and they can push that information out for us.
Okay, and that was the end of the presser. And the stuff she was saying was the girl that I guess I'll refer to as a TikToker is some, you know, I guess if you're out there, some good basic stuff. You know, I used to go some pants. I used to wear shorts at first, but I think it's better to wear long pants. I used to wear it because like ticks and stuff like that or bugs. And I'd bring a machete with me. I don't know about their laws over there or whatever. I'm sure probably okay over there. I don't know. And gloves and whatever.
She yelled, "I found his cord."
Yeah, I did.
And we immediately...
And my stomach dropped. We begin with breaking news tonight as two women on TikTok uncover a startling piece of evidence in the disappearance of college student Riley Strain. Those girls finding the 22-year-old's bank card right by the river. This launching even more search efforts today, as Fox 17 News is now asking Metro Police if this changes the course of their investigation. It's the first major clue in the disappearance of University of Missouri senior Riley Strain in several days since he went missing March 8th. Riley's bank card discovered by Anna Clendening and Brandy Baiman.
There you go.
On TikTok and passionately committed to helping bring Riley home.
Riley's face, I'm seeing every time I close my eyes. I haven't been able to sleep the last few days because I know his mom is not sleeping.
Brandy searching homeless camps and the steep Russian garbage-laden riverbanks since Tuesday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I did over 18,000 steps out here.
Sunday, their effort produces a significant piece of evidence right near where Riley was last seen, according to police.
9 days later, we found the credit card. 9 days later. It was pretty obvious that there was a card. I don't know. We need to do more. We need to do more.
Surveillance video.
That's wild. And I guess that was all that was found. Just, you know, some people ask, why just the card? You know, why not the wallet, if he wears a wallet, or the other cards, or clothes, or keys, or phone, or...
Video shows Riley walking in the wrong direction after leaving Luke Bryan's bar, visibly intoxicated. His last known cell phone pings and sightings on video right in the area where the bank card was found. Search boats then arriving several hours later. Metro Police haven't yet responded to Fox 17 News' inquiry on whether the case has changed from no believed foul play to...
Which it hasn't changed. The other thing was this video. A lot of people were talking about it. I haven't covered it yet, but it's pretty brief. And this is a cop interacting with Riley. There he is to the left. See again, just to the left. So I guess that's him to the left right there. Make sure they can see it. To me, it almost looked like he was running or jogging almost. I don't know if he maybe slowed down when he saw the cop. Do it again. Spare you from the volume. Normal.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's over here on Gay Street, near First Avenue.
That's that. There's also the mysterious last text message that people have talked about. I think we should actually just watch the video from News Nation. Is it this one? There we go.
A special briefing for Riley's family.
Sure.
They were able to look over
Yeah,
evidence and ask the police officers questions. Riley's parents join me live now. His
Everything's
mom
jacked
and
up.
stepfather,
Hold on.
Michelle and Chris Whited, and
There we
his
go.
father, Ryan Gilbert. Thank you to all three of you for taking the time tonight to speak with me. And may I just say, I am so sorry for what you are all going through. I can't imagine the stress that you're under and how traumatizing this must be. So let's get right to it. Let's help to drill down what we know and get the public working hard. So, Michelle, you met with the police yesterday. Were they able to share anything with you that was at least satisfying, anything that you're able to share with us or not able to share with us?
No, they just let us know where they are in the investigation and the videos that everybody has seen.
So what the media knows
I'm
and
going
what
to
the public
clarify
knows is the same as
on
what
that
you know,
just a
right?
little bit. They, just so you know, we requested the meeting Friday afternoon late that we get to see the video footage. We had not seen anything or really heard from them too much throughout the week, the previous week, so we were getting frustrated. We wanted to see what they had. So it's not like this was one of those deals. It came up after we called them to tell them that the TikTokers had found the debit card because they didn't know that it had been found. Supposedly, they didn't know that the call had came in. We arrived before the police.
So I'll tell you what, I understand the sensitivity that you all are under. You do not want to criticize the police because right now they are your lifeline to continuing this investigation, to finding Riley. On the other hand, I can. And I am steaming mad that I interviewed a woman who works with the homeless who says she could have sworn she saw that shirt on a homeless man who was acting in an unusual way, had an unusual behavior in that he had a bike, which is not normal, didn't ask for food, which is not normal, and that the shirt was perfectly clean underneath his dirty hoodie. And she has not been questioned, even as of today when we checked back with her. So, Chris, I'll just ask you if you were able to talk to the police about this, if they mentioned anything about it, if they've discounted it in any way, and why?
They have not mentioned that to us at all. We are aware of that. We've heard the same comment. We've also heard multiple people that have tried to call Crime Stoppers and leave tips and been told they don't know anything about a Riley Strain case. So lots of confusion. We're struggling. We're 10 days in, It's
Yeah. I can imagine. And I'll tell you what, like I said, I can criticize the police. I agree that you guys just have to keep your heads up and work with them. But Ryan, I will also say this, to have TikTokers who volunteered to look for Riley, find that bank card in what looked like a homeless mess of discarded clothing and junk on the riverbed, made me really angry because I feel like it was right in the vicinity where Riley's phone pinged, and that there should have been a grid search done. This was found days and days after perhaps it should have been. Ryan, are they saying anything about that card and about the fact that it was TikTokers, not the police, that found it?
No, there hadn't necessarily been anything said about that. One would assume that since it was found in the vicinity of his last known whereabouts, that should have been canvassed pretty good. I think it just shines light on the B- job that the police force may be doing. And
So let's see here real quick. Luke's Bar. Luke's 32 Bridge. This is the hotel he was staying at. And then we got the sighting 2, sighting 3, final phone ping, and then bank card. This is the Cumberland River. Up along the river, I guess.
following through and being detailed on this case. I know they're overwhelmed, but
Oh, by the way, there's a Nancy Grace episode dropping. I think it's dropping today. I'm actually not for certain. SF Investigates sat down with her and I guess in a panel. He said they finished recording this morning, so I hope that comes out tonight. I would love to see what they had to say and some of his thoughts. I'm happy he got on there. I think that's pretty cool. If that comes out tonight, we'll definitely come back and watch. This morning after taping the Nancy Grace show about Riley Strain case, those of us that were on the panel and Nancy Grace were backstage talking. Chris Dingman, a family rep, told us about the conversation Riley had with the girl he is dating. He told her how much he loved his mom. I won't get more specific than that, but it was so genuine. I've been thinking about that the last few hours, about how things can change in an instant. I can imagine the pain this family and every family of a missing person must go through. So we'll see when that comes out.
it was at the location, you know.
It's maddening. It's absolutely maddening that a member of the public who just wanted help.
I think it's out. I think it's out. Hold on. The podcast is out. The video's not out yet, but the podcast is out. Chris Dingman, Steve Fisher. Amazing. Okay. We can do that after this. While we listen to different radio clips, I'll start making a thumbnail.
Help was able to find a critical piece of evidence that had the police done a grid search in that exact same area, might very well have seen it too. For instance, they're a lot more trained at searching than, say, a TikToker. But Michelle, it came to our attention today that Riley had been on the phone with, I think, either a girlfriend or somebody he had maybe started seeing. I'm not sure. Maybe you can characterize the relationship. And I think she asked him that night, "Are you having fun?" And the only text that she got back said something like, "Good lops," LOPS. And she couldn't understand what that meant. Can you shed some light on that communication, when it happened, what the circumstances were, and what happened afterwards?
I'm not able to. I don't know the communication that happened between him and her. I'm not sure which. He's got several friends that are female, male. I mean, I don't know who that individual was that he talked to at that time.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News.
All right, I'm working on a thumbnail. So yeah, there was a text. Good lops. The woman he was seeing had asked him how he was doing the night he disappeared. He just wrote back, "Good lops." In a separate interview, Michelle Strain's mother told News Nation that she was not sure who the woman is. He's got several friends that are female, male. I don't know the individual he talked to at the time, she added. Okay. This was
All right, and speaking of the family of Riley Strain, tell us that they are feeling left in the dark right now. It's been over a week, of course, without their loved one. They say they're frustrated by the lack of communication and action by Metro Police. Jaxie Pigeon's here with their message this morning.
Well, Neil, Riley Strain's family is now calling on the TBI and FBI to help out in the investigation into his disappearance. The family says after not hearing or seeing much evidence from law enforcement, they requested a meeting with Metro Police Friday night. That's when they saw the body camera video police released to the public on Monday. Now, officials have searched with helicopters, drones, boats, and canines, but to no avail. They say they're now focusing their efforts on tips and phone data. Riley's family says they're disappointed by the current state of the search efforts.
We had not seen anything or really heard from them too much throughout the previous week, so we were getting frustrated. We wanted to see what they had. So it's not like this was one of those deals. It came up after we called them to tell them that the TikTokers had found the debit card because they didn't know that it had been found. Supposedly, they didn't know that the call had came in. We arrived before the police. We've also heard multiple people that have tried to call Crime Stoppers and leave tips and been told they don't know anything about a Riley Strain. We're 10 days.
Okay.
Trail pit from what he was walking, along with a video footprint to put things together, to look for people following, extra vehicles in the same frame, etc. But right now, that is the last video or voice that we have of Riley.
Nashville police today, Chris, again said no indication of foul play. And that's the way, it seems they're being careful the way they word it, but they say no indication of foul play. What do you make of this? I mean, what are your thoughts at this point?
It's, I don't play poker well. It's very frustrating. His debit card was found in an area that we have been, everybody, hundreds of people have been in that area for 8 days. It's in an area that, you know, you think we would have seen something by now. We've had people in the water. We've had people on land. We've had people volunteer helicopters. You know, it just amazes us that it just happened to happen when it did, and we thank God it did, and those young ladies found it. They have been very, very open in helping us with this investigation. But, yeah. We have a lot of questions. Every piece of the puzzle we've been receiving, it leads us down 100 more questions. You know, we're no closer to finding Riley. We've asked for the TBI to be involved. I've even reached out to the FBI, Homeland Security. You know, it's nothing. I'm not trying to take a dig at what Metro Nashville's doing. I know they're doing with what they can. They're probably short-staffed, but more eyes, more people invested in this. We're 8-9 days in. And how does a 6'5", 6'6", blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy disappear? I mean, he literally disappeared.
Yeah,
there's no, I understand. No, and there's no DNA at the scene.
No, I was just going to say it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Like you said, sir, it doesn't add up, which is one of the reasons I think so many people are paying such close attention to the case. But you make a good point. I mean, we're not trying to make a dig at police here, but when you hear that it's TikTokers who are out there, volunteers who find his bank card on the riverbank now a week later, and not police early on, I mean, is that concerning to you and the family?
It is. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, very close friend of the family, but they are very concerned on what's actually going on right now. We thank the Lord. It's ironic that they are literally trying to ban TikTok right now. And they're literally the only ones that has provided us a solid lead 8-9 days after this has started. So there is bad sides to all type of internet. I was actually on the phone triangling with another TikToker when the young ladies found that, had them send me a picture of it. I told them what bank he was with, etc. Unfortunately, we have been warned of the bad side of this, how people will want attention. They'll print fake plastic cards of people's identification, throw them in locations of crimes.
We've seen it before, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So before I rallied the troops, the mom and dad, I did have them dial 911. I had them send me pictures of it and instantly knew, wow, we have our first clue. And, you know, it was amazing. We were so happy And I told him, and you saw it in the interview, they were extremely nervous. I told him, I said, you're about to have 100 people instantly come to that spot because they were live. And I said, I need you to make sure nobody comes within 10, 20 feet of where you found that card, because we can't take a risk of jeopardizing, a potential crime scene. They did not label it at that yet.
That was smart.
But, and they were nervous and they go, okay. And it was awesome, but we're very concerned. I wish we had more people looking in this, invested in it. We just want Riley home. He's a great kid. He has a lot going for him. He was 2 months out from living the American dream and starting, graduating college and being an investment career that he wanted to be in. Just how does somebody like that just disappear, especially when there's an officer within a half mile, quarter mile of that area looking for suspects and smash and grabs? You think if there would have been an altercation, which there has been some stories and unverified, he would have heard that because he's listening for, things going on with automobiles. There's the video of it right
course. There. Yeah, you'd think, like you said, the video, that the officer was so close, which just adds to the mystery. I want to ask you real quick, Chris, do you know much about Riley's final communications? Have you had any access to his text messages or who he was talking to last?
We did. People, we've been trying to explain how much of a family-oriented Riley was. Riley actually talked to his mom an hour and a half, 2 hours before this incident. He's one of those kids that still loves his family just like ours did. That's why we love this kid. He was seeing a young lady that there was a recently new relationship, and she is literally the last person that we know that had any communication with Riley from the family. She texted him to see how he was doing, if he was having fun. He sent kind of a scripted text back to her saying good slops or something like that. She said she even had to Google it. She didn't understand what that slang was. She thought maybe it was something new they picked up in Nashville. It was not new slang.
Wait, say that again.
Riley
what was it? I missed it. What did he text? Can you say it again? I didn't understand.
He actually, he texted her back. Instead of saying good time, he said good lops, like LOPS.
Good lops.
And which we were all confused. We're like, wow, what is that? And that just kind of shows the state of mind that he was in at that time. This is all within a 10-minute window of what you just seen, where he went missing.
Thanks so much for watching.
All right. We're going to go over to the new stream right now on the same channel. If you're on TikTok or Facebook, I'm coming right back. You just have it. Just stay right there or come back to my page. I want to listen to it's only in audio format right now. I'm going to listen to Nancy Grace's podcast. She does have a YouTube page. She hasn't dropped the episode out on YouTube yet, but I'll put a link to her channel. Whenever she does drop it, you can go watch the actual video. They actually have pretty nice videos over there. But yeah, we're just going to listen. So give me 1 second. I'm going to transfer you guys over. I'll start it back up. And if you could hit the like button, subscribe, follow me if you're on TikTok, wherever, Facebook. Agatha, thank you for the 5, says, not sure why they're going on about a crime at this point. Just find them. Pretty good. Thank you for the super chat. Says, if it doesn't bother them, people tend not to help. I guess so. All right, I'm going to see you guys over in a second.